Hi, everybody. It is February 28th, 2018. It's been a little over a year since I did one of these videos, maybe 13 or 14 months. I think it was December of 2016 was the last one. You may notice I'm a little bit hairier than the last time. Okay, I'm a lot hairier. I mostly back to normal, except for a little bit up here, which is, maybe I've got a receding hairline for the first time in my life. I'm not sure if it's chemo or age related, but hey, I'll take it. Happy to be here. Anyway, I had a lot of people ask me to do one of these videos. A couple of you very considerately in the YouTube comments asked if I was dead. I am not dead. I'm actually in pretty good health. 2017 was a great year. Becky and I did all kinds of awesome stuff. We joked that 2016 was the year of no and 2017 was the year of yes. And kind of did everything. We traveled all over the country, went and visited friends and family. We went to Burning Man. We threw a huge New Year's party and raised a bunch of money for charities. Did all kinds of awesome stuff. Went to Iceland again. It was a great year. I went back to work last January. Distiller's doing great. We're growing like mad. I did a strongman competition last summer where I took second to Josh Hatfield, who is on his way to the Arnold Classic right now, and I fully expect him to do amazing. He's going to kick some ass. Anyway, if those were the year of yes and no, or no and yes, and then 2018 is kind of the year of maybe, that's a good thing because we're kind of back to normal now. We're trying our best to find a new normal, and things are going pretty well. So anyway, on to the health part. My health is in pretty good. It's pretty solid. I'm fully in remission still, no sign of relapse. I am still on a ton of chemo, which I'm very excited to be finishing soon. I'll get to more of that here in a minute. So I'm still on chemo. A lot of people don't realize I still do chemo. So I go in once a month and I get an infusion in my chest, in my port. And then I take between 400 and 500 pills a month. Not all of those are chemo, but that's the amount of pills I take a month. That's my chemo regimen. I am very excited to be finishing up chemo this year. Last year, I had a couple episodes where I went neutropenic, and for those of you who don't know, neutropenia is when your white blood cell count drops to a level where your body can't fight infection, where your immune system gets so weak, you get sick very easily, and almost anything can kill you. So, had to change up my medicine regimen a few times based on that. Had to change up my medicine regimen because I was on a drug called dexamethasone, and it was causing anxiety and panic attacks, and I wouldn't remember days at a time when I was on it. Took me a couple months to realize that was happening. But yeah, so anyway, we changed that up, and I'm on prednisone still, which is way better, but still sucks. But I'm very excited to have maintenance chemo in sometime this year. So it's going to end sometime between April and December. Still kind of undecided. And but yeah, in general, health is solid. So this brings me to my next thing. When I did my last video, I was in the doctor's office. I believe I did it from the doctor's office, or maybe I did it and then went to the doctor's office. And my blood levels were the lowest they had ever been. My hematocrit was at between 20 and 21. My platelets were 5,000, which is effectively zero. My white blood cell count was at nothing. And I saw this postcard on my doctor's desk, and it said the LLS Big Climb, and I asked what it was, and they told me it was a fundraiser that the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society puts on every year. My doctor participates in it. And it's where 7,000 people climb the Columbia Tower stairwell and race up the stairwell. Now, the Columbia Tower is 1,300-ish steps, 70 flights of stairs. And there was a competition around it. So I'm like, yeah, this is perfect. This lines up very well with the kind of things I like to do. So I was pretty game on, and I immediately wanted to do it. And this, again, while my blood levels were at their lowest, I see this thing 3 months out and decide I'm going to go for it. So I go for it. End up getting a team together, which we named Fuck Cancer. Sorry for the language, but I think we can all agree with the sentiment. And we got a team together, and we raised $15,000. All of us finished the climb. I was actually the slowest of us all. My friend Michael Bacino didn't train, ran to the top, proceeded to throw up. Another friend of ours ran to the top with minimal training and then had an EMT help her. She also was, I think she was in second or third out of our group. I got to warn you, Mike, I think Tony is coming for you this year. I've seen him training a few times, and he has clearly stepped up his training this year. So might have a little bit of a challenge on your hands. But anyway, so we're doing it again this year, and Team Fuck Cancer is back to fundraising. And I hope we hope to top our numbers from last year. I've been asked to be the honoree for the Big Climb by the LLS, which I was very excited and honored to do. I obviously have a vested interest in the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society. I'm a leukemia patient, but also they fundraise. Their funds go towards research and R&D for a variety of treatments and drugs. They also help out families that can't pay for their medical bills and a variety of other things. But from my perspective, and for me, the most important thing was that they directly fund research. And some of that research has led to treatments that are the reason I'm alive right now. So one of them, I've been told that dasatinib was partially funded by the LLS. Dasatinib is, again, I mentioned it earlier, it's the one that I'll be on for the rest of my life. And it is a TKI, it's called a tyrosine kinase inhibitor. And it specifically targets my cancer, and it's the reason I didn't have to do transplant. It's the reason I went into remission fast. It's the reason I'm here. So if you don't like me, you also don't like dasatinib. Anyway, so I'm a big fan of the LLS, and we're doing the climb again this year, and we're hoping to top our fundraise from last year, which leads to a couple other fun topics. I got a tattoo. I had a mantra when I was sick, and it started out a little longer. It started out as something along the lines of any day above ground is a good one. And because I got to tell you, when you're in inpatient chemo, there are a lot of days that are pretty awful. I'll spare you some details, but there's some horrible stuff that goes on. And even when you're lucky and things go well, it's terrible. And so I had this phrase, and that kind of turned into just no bad days. And then no bad days kind of turned into no bad days, only good days and wasted time. And then I added death is coming. And I know some people thought that's kind of morbid, but to me, it's a really solid reminder that you only got a little bit of time here, and you should do what you can to make everything good, and make it good while you can, and keep things moving forward. And even the bad days are opportunities to grow and change and figure things out. So this kind of became my mantra when I was sick. And when I was getting out of the hospital, I asked Mike if he'd design a tattoo for me. So he did. It started out, and it went through a bunch of iterations. I'm going to send you a link to a blog post that he's doing here, where you can see a bunch of different iterations of it. And anyway, after all of this, we ended up doing that, translating that to Latin, which we thought was cool because, one, it looks really awesome, and two, it is a dead language, which I thought was kind of funny because of the subject matter. So anyway, here's the tattoo. I'll pull it up so you can all see it, and I think it turned out pretty great. So Mike and I were talking about ways to beat our fundraise from last year for the Big Climb. And he had this idea about making a shirt of the tattoo design. So we did, and I'm not wearing it right now, but I've got it in my hands. And this is the shirt. So I will send links, and what we did was he made the shirt, and 100% of his proceeds are going to the LLS Big Climb fundraise right that we're doing. So if you'd like to contribute, you don't have to donate to the team. You can also buy a shirt, and that will go to the cause as well. And or if you don't want to do any of that, you know what I would say, you can just vote pro science. That's a step in the right direction too. So anyway, that's my update. We would love it and be very honored if you would buy a shirt or contribute to Team Fuck Cancer's fundraising cause. Remember that it's going to a good cause. And my health is solid. Chemo's ending. I hope you consider donating. And I hope you're all having a great year. All right. Thank you very much.